Hey guys, David Essel here. There's so many questions that come into us on a daily basis. Individuals asking us for help in making the best decision in life. And this one has popped up over the last several weeks about, should I take a friend or a lover back into my life if they cheated on me, if they stole from me, if they lied to me? And it's a great question. And I'm going to give you some ideas and thoughts here today on how to help you make the best decision of when do you take people back and when do you let people go. I think that too often times in life that we are really nice people and we take back people sometimes that we shouldn't. Sometimes they've done something that they're not really that apologetic for, or they've done it for the third or fourth or fifth or sixth or seventh time. And because we're codependents in life and because we don't want to rock the boat and we're afraid of being alone and we're afraid of being rejected and we're afraid of being judged, we might take people back in way too soon. On the flip side, there could be people that really do deserve to have a second or third chance, but because we've been hurt and loved before, because we've been lied to and let down before, that even if someone is extremely apologetic, we may feel a little insecure and not very powerful and say, no, you're out of my life, and be quite a hard ass when in actuality, maybe that person does deserve another chance. Maybe that person does deserve another opportunity. I want to welcome everyone aboard. Hey, Shelly, Penny, Melissa, great to have you guys with us. And the bottom line comes down to this, is what are you willing to set in regards to boundaries and consequences to see if this person really does deserve to be back with you? I'll tell you one of the greatest stories. We have a brand new book coming out in January called Focus. And one of the greatest stories I can tell you is, and many of the stories that I can share with you are really against the grain. In other words, the odds of these people being successful seem to the general public to be pretty small. But there was an individual, a couple that I worked with, and the guy cheated, and the woman came in and she didn't know if she should take her husband back. And everyone is saying, no, don't take her back. No, don't take him back. He's a dog. He's a slob. He doesn't deserve your love. And so when she came in and started working with me, I asked her to write out all the reasons why. Yes, her husband cheated on her. Yes, they had children. All the reasons why she felt that he deserved another chance. And at first she was confused. She wasn't really sure if he did deserve another chance. But as the chorus around her friends and family kept saying, ditch him, divorce him, get rid of him, she sat back and said, David, I'm not really quite sure if I'm ready to let this love go, this marriage go. And I want to tell you the breaking point for her. The breaking point for her, there was actually two breaking points for her. And I'm going to talk about if someone steals money from you and all this other kind of stuff. Kevin's with us. Dina's with them. Welcome, guys. And it came down to when I asked her this question. I was working with her for 4 weeks. And for people who have been in this situation, sometimes it's a hard question to ask. But I said to her, what was your role that might have helped push your husband out of your bed into someone else's? I didn't say that it was her fault. I didn't say it was her responsibility. I just said, if you had a role, what would it be? And she came back 7 days later with a mind so open and so raw and so vulnerable that it blew my mind. And she started listing all these things. She had shut down in 6 months before her husband started this affair. She had shut down in bed. She held huge resentments against him. And instead of working with a counselor like myself, she decided that she was just going to eat her resentments and not say anything. She had brought up things a couple times she wasn't happy with in the marriage. After 1 or 2 times of talking to her husband, when he didn't respond, because it oftentimes takes more than 1 or 2 times, she shut down and she wouldn't have sex with him anymore. And then she stopped doing the little things that she used to do, like bringing him coffee in the morning. In her mind, it was very passive aggressive from my perspective. In her mind, he didn't deserve coffee in the morning because he wasn't being a good husband. This was way before he cheated. Okay, way before he cheated. And so as her resentments built up and she justified shutting down sexually, not doing nice small things that she had done because their relationship had hit a level of dysfunction, he reached a breaking point and went out and had sex for someone else. But let me tell you something wild. The number one reason that she decided to fight for her marriage was when she saw what her role was. I've been a counselor and a life coach for 28 years. I've helped hundreds of couples in the middle of an affair decide if they should stay together or not. In 28 years, I have never seen in one couple that I've worked with an example where it was 100% the fault of the person who cheated. There's always some role that the other person plays as well. When she saw her role, gang, when she saw what she had done that encouraged her husband to look for sex somewhere else, it made her decision easy. She decided on that day she was going to fight for her marriage. Now, that's half of the equation if you should take someone else back. The other half of the equation is the other person, and in her case, her husband. I was working with her husband at the same time, separately. He was trying to decide if he should come back into the marriage or if he should leave with this new girlfriend. And he came to this resolution within the exercises, the writing exercises I gave him, that he was willing to do whatever his wife asked to regain her trust. That's what it takes. So if you're sitting there and someone cheated on you, maybe you're in a relationship right now where your partner is cheating and you're trying to decide, should I take them back? It's going to be twofold. Number one, am I willing to accept my responsibility for what encouraged my partner to look elsewhere for sex? Number one. Number two, is my partner coming back to me, apologizing and asking over and over and over and over again, what can I do to prove my love? What can I do to reclaim your trust? Those are the two most important keys in this question. Should I take someone back who cheated on me? If the answer to both of those is I'm willing to accept my responsibility, even though I didn't have sex with anyone, and my partner is willing to do whatever it takes to reclaim love, then you've got a really good chance of reclaiming the love relationship. And I want to tell you, I'm going to tidy up this story I was just sharing. That couple, I worked with them individually for 52 straight weeks, 1 year. They never missed a session. At the end of the year, their marriage was more powerful, more loving, more honest, more vulnerable than the 17 years combined that they were married prior to the affair. Can I get an amen? Isn't that incredible? Like so many couples I've worked with, when they come in, one of them is saying, I just need to divorce him or her. They're a pig. For them to have sex with someone else, I'll never accept. And how many people sitting watching this right now would say, you know what? I love my partner. And if he or she ever had an affair, I would want to fight for our relationship. Not many. We don't think it's going to happen, first of all. And then secondly, most of us have already made up our mind in a relationship that if you cheat on me, you're gone. And yet, 50% of the couples that I've worked with where there's been an affair, we've been able to save the marriage, but not just save the marriage, because I don't want to just save a marriage. I want to help save a marriage and see them become stronger, more kind, compassionate, sympathetic, loving, better communicators, taking the resentments. And the number one cause of affairs is resentments. That's the number one cause. In 28 years, it's 100% of the time. People cheat because they have resentments. People shut down in bed and edge their partner out of their relationship because of resentments. That's the number one cause. So in our work, we've got to get to the core of the relationship resentments. We've got to find ways to work through those resentments in order to bring the couple together. And, you know, some of the most amazing couples I've worked with who have come back after an affair are still in touch with me. I still get Christmas cards. Every once in a while, I'll get a note in the mail or an email saying, oh my Lord, we can't believe that our relationship was saved. It can be. But what about now? Let's go to friends. Let's go to, or family members or lovers that lie to us, that are extremely dishonest, that you ask them where they are and they say, oh, you know, I've been at work all day, and you find out later that they were out with their buddies. No, like no cheating involved, right? But they were out with friends having a drink, or that they took a couple hours to go to the beach and they didn't tell you. And you ask them what's going on and they say, oh, we're just really hard at work. And you find out they're lying. Or as a couple I worked with not long ago, the wife would buy all of these articles of clothing that weren't necessary, and she would hide the tags so that when he was going through the closet, he would never see new clothes, right? And at the end of a couple months, when he started looking at his account and wondering why their joint checking account had so little money, she was lying about buying clothes. So what do you do then? What do you do if you're in a relationship with a friend or a family member that constantly lies? And this is where it gets tough. It's just like saving a relationship from an affair that I talked about earlier. you have to be willing to set boundaries with consequences if you're with someone, a friend, a family member, a lover, who lies on a regular basis. Or the other word we use is omits the truth. Some people say, well, I didn't lie to you. You just didn't ask me where our money was going. You did, it's like, come on, omission is a lie, right? Well, the person who is not lying has to be willing to set boundaries with consequences. This is one of the biggest things we teach in our codependency course. Like, how do you say to someone, I need you to be honest with me? And if I find you in another lie, I don't care if it's a tiny, there's no such thing as a white lie. It's a little lie or a big lie, okay? Kevin just said, amen. In his case, his ex made it even more toxic with no regrets or resentments. Hey, listen, let me tell you, do you know the quickest way to lose respect from a friend or a partner or a family member is to nag on them about lying or cheating or doing something and not set a consequence. The minute you say, if you do this one more time, if you lie one more time, if I see you with a text from a woman or a guy one more time, and then you don't have a consequence, you have just lost 100% of their respect. Can I get an amen? You have just lost their respect because now you've become a nagger. And I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. If you are saying to someone, if you yell at me one more time, if you throw a plate at me one more time, if you pick up the dog and throw it across the room one more time, if you keep saying, if you do that one more time and you don't have a consequence, they have no respect for you. Please don't expect your relationship to change. Rachel Webb just said true. It's really hard, like I have so much compassion and empathy because I used to be one of the most codependent men in the world. As a matter of fact, listen to this. This is a great story. In 1997, I went to this counselor and I said to her, why the hell is my intimate relationship in hell again? And 4 weeks of working with her, she said to me, David, you are the most codependent man I have ever met. Now, let me tell you something interesting. I had always claimed I was the most independent man in the world. I've run my own businesses for years and blah, 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 right? David Essel is Mr. Independence. I worked with her for 52 straight weeks. Through those 52 weeks, I found I was an outrageously codependent man. I might say to a partner, I'm really tired of not having sex as much as I want. I'm really tired of you coming late to the movies. I'm really tired of me doing blah, blah, blah. But I never had a consequence. So my partner at that time, she didn't respect me. All she knew was I was going to bitch and complain, but there was going to be nothing else, right? I learned so much, and it was hard though. I learned so much about in my communication that if something is going awry, I'm the one that has to set the consequence. Me bitching and complaining and yelling doesn't mean anything to my partner, nor does it mean anything to you, to yours. How about children? Do you have children? Have you had children in the past and you've screamed at them? If you don't do this one more, if you don't pick up your room one more time, if you don't finish your homework one more time, and all you're doing is nagging, they have no respect for you. Melissa, I want to welcome you aboard. They have no respect whatsoever. Okay, so in order for us to become great parents, great lovers, great friends, we may have to ruffle feathers. We may have to say, hey, listen, I really love you as my lover. I love you as my friend. I love you as my brother, sister, mom, dad. I love you as my child. However, if you do X again, here is the consequence. If you do Y again, here is the consequence. If you do Z again, here's the consequence. Quit bitching at people. Quit making false claims, because a false claim is if you come to the movie one more time late and make me sit outside by myself and us miss the first 20 minutes of the movie, I will not be going to a movie with you again. There's a boundary, there's a consequence. But here's a wasted breath. You piss me off. You really pissed me off. This is the 100th time that you've come to the movie late. This is the 100th time that you've done. They don't give a crap about what you're saying. Jennifer, I want to welcome you. Thank you, Kevin. Laura, I want to welcome you. Christopher, I want to welcome you. Like, they don't care. You can bitch and moan all you want. Nothing's changing in the relationship until you change. And because you're watching this Facebook Live, I swear to God, You are the person that needs to change your friendship relationships, your love relationships, and your family relationships. It's not up to them because they ain't watching this. So now that I'm giving you all this information, you have to be willing and able to set boundaries with consequences. Rachel just said, I was there too, 100%. Thank God I am self-aware now. I know. Listen, it took me a year of working with a counselor to challenge myself and to change behaviors of over 30 years because I was afraid to be rejected by my lover. I was afraid to be judged by my friends. I was afraid to be judged by my peers in my profession. David Essel was Mr. Popularity and scared as shit as being the real David Essel, setting boundaries and consequences. Now it's totally different. Now my life does have some ups and downs because I say, if you want to be a friend of mine, if you want to be my lover, if you want to be in my life, and you do this again, that's not going to work. So I just want to let you know up front, we can, and people will push back, right? People will be upset with you. Why? Because you're changing the dynamics of the relationship and they don't like it. Does that make sense? Andrea just joined us. Welcome, Andrea. Like all of these tips I'm giving you today, I hope you're going to write them down. Share this crap on your wall so that you can watch it again and take notes. Like if you're like me and you've been in a behavior of relationships, friendships, intimate relationships, family that are always in upset, chaos, and drama, even at little levels, that's our responsibility to change it, no one else's. The last example I'm going to talk about is, what if someone steals from you? You have a friend, you have a lover, and they take something and they say they're going to bring it back and they don't, or they borrow money and they don't repay it. What do you do then? Do you bring them back into your life? And what I say to everyone is this. If someone takes something from you or borrows money and doesn't pay it back or steals from you, and you're not willing to hold their feet to the fire and doing two crucial keys, they will never respect you again, and there's a damn good chance you shouldn't have them in your life. And here it is. And I'm going to give you a personal example. A number of years ago, I was dating a woman, and I found out shortly after dating her that she was in huge financial stress. I didn't know that up front. As a matter of fact, up front, she gave this image that was totally different. She was buying me gifts and doing all these really nice things, which I don't need and I didn't ask for. She was doing it, well, like why a lot of people do it. It's called love bombing. To suck the partner in, okay? It's called love bombing. Men and women do it all the time, so it's not abnormal. But she presented herself at an image that she could take care of herself financially, and within about 60 days, and I had fallen deeply for her, within about 60 days, I find out that she's 2 months behind in her rent and all kinds of financial crap. So I loaned her money, and then the next month, something else came up, and before you know it, I'm loaning her quite a bit of money, and I had a contract drawn up. And the contract was very clear. And like, you borrowed X amount, I need to have it paid back so many dollars a week until it's paid off. Well, the relationship ended, and she was not trustworthy. And my responsibility was I stayed too long. Okay. My fault. No one else's, my fault. But when the relationship ended, I got a text from her saying, I talked to my mom and all my girlfriends, and they say I don't owe you. And we're talking over $20,000. It's not like, $150, $200. And they say, I don't owe you any of the $20,000 because that's what a boyfriend does. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. No, we have a contract. We have an agreement. Stephanie, welcome. No, I'm not loaning you $20,000 because I'm your boyfriend. That's bullshit. We have an agreement, to which she disappeared. And I did what anyone else should do. I hired an attorney. They went into a background check, and the guy said to me, you know what, you'll win this in court, but she has no money and you're not going to get any money back. And so then she came back to me a while later and wanted to be friends. And this is what I said to her, which I would say to all my clients. If someone takes something from you, there's 2 steps that they have to take in order for me to recommend that you bring them back into your life. And this is being a very strong, independent person. Step number 1. Whatever they borrowed, whatever, I don't care if it's your favorite dress, your favorite shoes, if it's money, if it's whatever, they have to repay it 100% before you even think about them coming back into your life, okay? Like, you got to be strong. You have to be powerful. So number 1 is that they have to repay you 100% for whatever they borrowed, stole, took, whatever, okay? Number 2, They have to, Stephanie, good. They have to be willing to write you a letter of apology as to what they did and what they took as step 2 to come back into your life. And why do I say that? Why wouldn't I just say as a counselor, you know what, as long as they apologize? Hell no. I want you to be so strong and set before you welcome someone back into your life who's betrayed you, lied to you, or stole from you. I want you to be so secure, and I want them to be so humble that they're willing to put on paper, in a text, in an email, exactly what they did incorrectly that harmed the relationship. If your friend, your lover, your family member is willing to do both of those steps, then I welcome them back in. And I would encourage my clients to welcome them back in, okay? But, and here's a big but, very few people will agree to those 2 steps. I shared that with my former girlfriend that stole the money. And she wanted to come back in, and I said, hey, time out. Pay the 20 grand, send me a letter stating all of the crap that you did that was totally unprofessional, a lack of gratitude. And I said, I'll bring you back into my life, not as a lover, not as a partner, but I'll have you in my life as a friend. Sure. If you're going to owe up to what you did and pay me back, I don't have any resentments. And of course, she said she would never do that until the end of time, which was fine because I don't need that kind of energy. And I share that with you right now. Like, to some people watching this is common sense. But if you have any tendency to go towards codependency in life, we are really afraid to put up the boundary and the consequence and say, if you want to deserve to be in my existence, I don't have liars, cheaters. I don't have people that steal from me in my existence because I don't do that. But if you want to come on back, follow these rules and we'll talk. Does that make sense? Listen, relationships are dynamic. Relationships are ever changing. But the one thing that shouldn't change in all relationships is your honesty, your integrity, your willingness to set boundaries, and your willingness to set consequences, okay? When you do that, you will start to bring into your inner circle people who are exactly like that, who follow their word, who have integrity, and who are willing to back their word with action. When you have a core of 2 or 3 or 4 friends, because not many of us have more than 2 or 3 or 4 good friends, and I think if you're going more than 3, it's probably an acquaintance, quite frankly. That's just my opinion. But you want that inner core to be a representative and a mirror of you. And you can't bring in mirrors of you if you're not willing to be honest, upright, set boundaries and consequences. Comprende? If you need help in your relationships, whether it's with your family, your friends, or your lover, contact me. What we do when I do these Facebook Lives as a thank you for tuning in, we say that any of our 8-week courses that you join with me one-on-one, that we already discounted by $200 for people that watch us on Facebook Live. Okay, so if you're serious about changing your relationship, all of my work, my counseling work and coaching work for 28 years comes with a 100% money back guarantee. You're not going to lose a penny. If at the end of our work, you don't think that I've given you great information and you don't see changes, we'll write you a check. I've never written a check to anyone in 28 years. No one's ever asked for it back because we do great work and you're going to do great work with me. Okay, so just either send me a little note here that you're interested in doing work with me, send me a private message on Facebook, send me an email via talkdavid.com, and my team will set up our sessions together and they will take off $200 right off the top to thank you for watching our Facebook Lives. Okay, so I want to say goodbye to everyone today. Have an awesome, awesome rest of your week and holiday season. And wherever you are in the world right now joining me, I want to thank you. And let's make sure that we're becoming independent people in the world of relationships, having no fear to set boundaries with consequences. So we let go of people that aren't for our highest good, allowing more space to come in with great people who are. Okay? Have an awesome day. Bye, everybody.